Attention passionate Montreal, Canadiens fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the Atlantic Division and it could shake up the entire conference. We're talking about a direct impact on Montreal Canadiens' path to another Stanley Cup run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Montreal Canadiens fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Montreal Canadiens fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. Let's talk about the Montreal Canadiens, a team that's been through its share of ups and downs, but one that's always been about resilience, about fighting for that next step toward greatness. As we head into the 2023-2024 NHL season, the buzz around the Canadiens is heating up, and it's not just because of the players on the ice. No, this time, it's about what the front office might be cooking up behind the scenes. What kind of moves could reshape the team's future and perhaps even alter the balance of power in the Atlantic Division? The Canadiens, as many of you know, have always positioned themselves as a team with a rich history, a team that's built on a foundation of talented young players, a passionate fan base, and a desire to contend for the Stanley Cup once again. But to get back to that elite level, Montreal needs to address some key areas, notably their center ice position. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Nick Suzuki is the undisputed star, the true number one center, and he's been nothing short of phenomenal since taking on that role. He's the kind of player who can carry the team, lead by example, and energize the entire roster. But let's be honest here, you don't build a Stanley Cup contender just around one player, especially in today's NHL where depth and versatility are king. That's where the rumors, the whispers, and the latest reports come into play. And folks, they're intriguing. There's talk about the Canadiens making a bold move to upgrade their second or third line center position, and one of the most talked about options involves a division rival, the Boston Bruins. Yes, the same Bruins who, last season, struggled to find consistency, but are now looking to bounce back and make a real push for the playoffs. According to Heavy.com, there's a proposed trade scenario that could see Montreal land Pavel Zacha from Boston, and it's a move that could make a lot of sense for both teams. Now, just imagine this. Montreal sending a couple of promising young forwards, Datch and Roy, and a second-round pick in the 2026 draft to Boston. In return, they get Zacha, a versatile, skilled middle six center who last season put up some impressive numbers with the Bruins, 14 goals, 33 assists, totaling 47 points in 82 games. That's a solid contribution, especially considering he's only 26 years old and has 2 years left on his current deal, which is valued at about $4.75 million annually. Zacha has the size, the skill, and the experience to slot nicely into Montreal's lineup, providing that much-needed depth in the middle and giving head coach Martin St. Louis a reliable option behind Suzuki. But let's talk a little more about Pavel Zacha. He's not just a player with decent numbers. He's a guy with the potential to elevate Montreal's offensive game. Coming into the league with a lot of promise after being drafted 6th overall in 2015 by the New Jersey Devils, Zacha's career has seen its share of ups and downs. Injuries hampered his early years, but he's steadily grown into a dependable two-way forward, capable of playing tough minutes and contributing offensively. His skating is smooth, his shot is accurate, and he's good at creating scoring chances, not just for himself, but for his teammates. For Montreal, adding a player like Zacha could help balance their lines and give them more flexibility in their offensive strategies. Now, on the other side of the trade, Montreal would be sending away Datch and Roy, two young players with a lot of potential, but also some question marks. Kirby Datch, drafted 3rd overall in 2019, has always been a player with high expectations. He's a big, talented center with a knack for playmaking and scoring, but injuries and adjustments have slowed his development. Last season, he played 57 games, scoring 10 goals and adding 12 assists for a total of 22 points. Datch is entering the final year of his current contract, and the Canadiens might see this move as a chance to not only get a proven NHL player in Zacha, but also to open up some roster spots for their emerging young talent. And let's not forget about Jesse Roy, the third piece in the puzzle. Roy is more of a depth forward, someone who can plug into the third or fourth line, bring energy, and provide some secondary scoring. Last season, he played 12 games with Montreal, netting 2 goals. His contract is modest, just over $800, $0, so he's a flexible piece in any trade scenario. For Boston, acquiring Roy might give them some added depth without a significant cap hit, especially as they look to rebuild and retool their roster after a tough season. But this isn't just about the specifics of the trade. It's about what it signals for the Canadiens' strategy moving forward. Montreal GM Kent Hughes has made it clear that the team is looking to improve at center ice, and while they're comfortable starting the season with Alex Newhook and Datch as their second and third centers, the team is always exploring ways to upgrade. Hughes has emphasized that the team prefers to do this via trade rather than free agency, which makes sense given the current market and the Canadiens' cap situation. They have some valuable assets, like their draft picks in the upcoming years, especially those 3 first and 2 second-round picks in 2026, which could be game changers for future rebuilds or trades. And let's not forget the broader context here. Boston, as we all know, was one of the underperforming teams last season, finishing well below expectations. The Bruins are a team with a proud history and a passionate fan base, but last year's struggles have made them eager for a turnaround. They're hopeful to make a deep playoff run this season, but if they find themselves out of the playoff picture again, there's a real possibility they could become sellers at the trade deadline, especially if they decide to rebuild around their core and look for future assets. This potential trade involving Zacha is interesting partly because of his no-trade clause. According to reports, his 10-team no-trade list could become an 8-team list on July 1, giving him some say in where he ends up. That means Montreal and Boston might have to negotiate not just the terms of the deal, but also Zacha's preferences. Still, the fact that he's on the market indicates that Boston may be open to moving him if the right offer comes along, and Montreal could be that team looking to make a strategic move. And let's take a quick look at Zacha's career stats. Over 628 NHL games, he scored 125 goals and dished out 217 assists for a total of 342 points. For Montreal, acquiring a player with that kind of experience and offensive ability could be a real boost, especially as they're building toward becoming a more competitive team once again. But beyond the individual players and the trade talks, what does this all mean for the Canadiens' outlook this season? Well, with the core already in place, Suzuki, Newhook, and now potentially Zacha, the team is trying to strike a balance between young talent and experienced players who can lead the way. The coaching staff, led by Martin St. Louis, is known for their focus on skill development and creating a positive environment for young players to thrive. The front office, under Hughes, is clearly looking to add pieces that can help Montreal push for a playoff spot and eventually a deep postseason run. Of course, there are always questions. Will they be able to pull off this trade? Will Zacha be interested in coming to Montreal? How will Datch and Roy adjust to new roles or new teams? And what other moves might they explore before the season begins? These are all questions that keep fans on the edge of their seats, eagerly awaiting more news. In terms of the team's overall strategy, Montreal has always been about building from within, developing their prospects, and making smart trades when the opportunity arises. Their recent draft history has been promising, with several high-potential players in the pipeline. The addition of more experienced NHL players like Zacha could help smooth the transition for their younger guys and provide leadership on and off the ice. As fans, we know that the Canadiens are more than just a team. They're a symbol of resilience, of fighting through adversity, and of dreaming big. Every trade, every signing, every game is part of that ongoing story. And right now, it looks like the Canadiens are positioning themselves to be serious contenders once again, ready to challenge their division rivals and make a statement in the league. So, what do you all think about this potential move? Do you believe Zacha is the right fit? Are you excited about the prospect of seeing Datch and Roy swapped for a seasoned NHL veteran? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear your opinions, your predictions, and your hopes for this season. Remember, the offseason is just the beginning, and the real action kicks off when training camp opens. So stay tuned because the Montreal Canadiens are never out of the game for long. And now, Montreal Canadiens fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Montreal Canadiens. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Montreal Canadiens news.